Ah, yes. Grave of the Fireflies. Anyone who's been on an internet thread where someone asked what movie broke you the most knows this one. Seriously, we are about to watch our two innocent main characters go from this
Here, have one.
Yeah, it's gonna be one of those videos. Grave of the Fireflies is a 1988 Studio Ghibli movie directed by Isao Takahata and based on a semi-autobiographical short story by Akiyuki Nosaka, who someone should probably go check on. The film is one of Studio Ghibli's lesser-known movies, and a big reason for that probably has something to do with the dark tone of the movie. While Ghibli is famous for its fantastical worlds, incredible adventures, and unbelievably tasty-looking food, Grave of the Fireflies, on the other hand, is a harsh and unrelenting look at the horrors of war. I know it may not sound as fun as a giant moving castle or a bus that's also a cat, but in my mind, it's maybe the most important story they've ever told. So grab your tear bucket and let's get into it. Before we get too far though, let's introduce our two main characters. We've got 14-year-old big brother Seita and his adorable 4-year-old sister Setsuko. There are a few other characters that'll come up, but surprisingly, these are the only two whose names we ever learn. With that out of the way, let's jump in. The movie starts and we open on Seita, a young boy in a uniform, and he lets us know with his very first line.
September 21st, 1945. That was the night I died.
I guess he does. Damn. And he's not kidding in the slightest. As Seita looks around, we see that he is in a train station looking down at his own body. And he does not look good. He's malnourished and barely breathing, but the other people in the station couldn't care less, as they all walk right past him. One person is kind enough to give him some food, but Seita doesn't even have the strength to eat. He collapses to the ground and is only able to say one word: Setsuko. Seita isn't alone either, as we see the train station is filled with starving people. A janitor searches Seita's body and only finds a rusty tin, which he throws into the grass outside.
I'll buy you even better ones.
That's such a good big brother. It starts to rain, and Seita decides it's time for them to go look for their mother. As they climb the hillside, they see their entire village has been reduced to ash. Damn, things just keep getting worse. Seita tells Setsuko not to worry, and that their father will make the Americans pay for this. Now, I may not be the biggest history buff, but I think he might be a bit off on that one. The pair then search through crowds of survivors for their mom, with no luck. They see many dead bodies, but fortunately, none of them belong to their mother. Setsuko gets some ash in her eyes, and the two head to an elementary school where first aid is being given. At the school, one of Seita's neighbors tells him that his mother was seriously injured during the attack, so he leaves Setsuko with the neighbor and goes to find his mother. When he does find her, however, to a real hospital soon, there's not much anyone can do to help her. Back outside, Seita lies to Setsuko by telling her that their mother is only slightly injured and will recover soon. Setsuko starts to cry, and Seita, being the capital B big bro that he is, does a sick gymnastics routine to try and cheer her up.
Watch me! I'm good at this!
Setsuko, how are you missing this? Bro could have been a gold medalist in another life. Seita goes by himself to watch as her body is cremated in a mass grave. Seita hides their mother's death from his little sister and tells her they are going to live with their aunt only until their mother recovers. Their aunt seems kind enough at first, but she's clearly not too crazy about having 2 more mouths to feed.
Lucky your dad's in the Navy. You get to have a truck help move you over here.
Yeah. Lucky. That's exactly the word I would use. He's able to find the supplies he buried in the yard, including some pickled plums and that tin of candy. He brings the food back to his aunt, who seems kinda annoyed. Seriously? Being jealous of 2 orphans whose house just burnt down? Yeah, I'm getting some really bad vibes off of this aunt. Later, Seita and Setsuko take a bath and go catch some fireflies together. The only one who doesn't think so is their auntie. She tells Seita he should be in school. But ma'am, the school burned down. She tells Seita he should be going to work at the steel mill. But ma'am, the steel mill burned down. Well, you've just got an answer for everything, don't you, Seita? Seita tries his best to keep smiling and having fun for Setsuko's sake, despite constant air raids and trips to the shelter. While at the beach one day, Setsuko starts following a crab and ends up stumbling upon a dead body, crying. Even a child like Setsuko cannot be fully sheltered from the horrors of war. Back at home, Seita's aunt has decided to trade his mother's kimonos for a bag of rice, since, well, she doesn't need them anymore. This upsets Setsuko, who still doesn't know the truth about her mother. I don't see her complaining when she's wolfing down that rice though. Eventually, Auntie decides that she has had enough of these freeloaders. She calls Seita a lazy slug and tells him that if he wants to keep eating, he's gonna have to start pitching in more.
Do you do anything to earn it? No. You absolutely do not.
My reaction exactly, Seita. When Setsuko points out that it's their own rice that they've been sharing with their aunt, she accuses them of being ungrateful and tells them they'll have to make their own dinner from now on. Now, I don't know about you all, but for me, this aunt just officially became the antagonist of this movie. Get it? Antagonist? Seriously though, this is one of the toughest moments of the film for me. While their aunt's actions may be heartless, the circumstances of war haven't really given her much choice, as she can barely afford to feed her own family. Seita somehow manages to stay positive though, and he decides it's time for him and Setsuko to move out. Fortunately, he is able to find a luxurious, zero-bed, zero-bath, abandoned bomb shelter for them to live in. Their first night in the shelter, Setsuko is afraid of how dark it is at night, so Seita decides to catch some fireflies and release them inside. The siblings watch in wonder as hundreds of fireflies dance around inside the shelter, creating beautiful patterns and constellations. Seita is reminded of a naval parade he saw when he was younger, and wonders to himself if his father is even still alive. In the morning, Seita awakens to find Setsuko digging a grave to bury the dead fireflies in. She reveals to him that their aunt has already told her the truth about their mother's death. Seita breaks down in tears, and to which Setsuko asks,
Why do fireflies have to die so soon?
This is one of the most devastating scenes in the movie, and where it gets its haunting title. I'm pretty sure it was also the inspiration for the Owl City song Fireflies, but don't quote me on that. Eventually, the siblings run out of food, and even though they still have some money, they can't find anyone with enough food that they're willing to sell some. A nearby farmer tells Seita he should just swallow his pride and beg his aunt to take him back in. But Seita isn't willing to do that, and as if they didn't have enough going on the way home, the siblings are shot at by an American plane. They dive into a vegetable garden to avoid it, and even though the food belongs to someone else, Seita is desperate enough to steal, and the pair grab as many tomatoes and potatoes as they can carry. They then bump into a policeman while carrying the stolen food and run away before he can ask where they got it. Get those tissue boxes ready, because this is where things go from bad to worse. Setsuko marbles that she thinks are candy. Seita gives Setsuko some watermelon and goes outside of the shelter to make some rice. But for Setsuko, it's too late. We knew this was coming, but that doesn't make it any less heart-wrenching. Setsuko was pure childlike innocence in human form, and seeing her suffer such a tragic fate all because of a war started by mankind's cruelest instincts is one of those movie moments that has the power to truly deeply affect someone. I know it affected me. Seita cremates Setsuko's body along with her straw doll. As he does, he is surrounded by people celebrating the end of the war. But while the war may have finally ended, it took everything from Seita before it did. He puts Setsuko's ashes into the candy tin, and not long after, with no more reason to live, Seita himself dies at the train station. The movie ends with the ghosts of the two siblings looking down at modern-day Japan, surrounded by dancing fireflies. Well, that was Grave of the Fireflies. It's no mystery why this is one of Studio Ghibli's lesser-known films. It's an extremely depressing watch, and honestly, probably one of the saddest movies of all time. If you're able to get through that though, it is an incredibly powerful depiction of the highest and lowest of what mankind is capable of. The film's director has actually gone on record saying that this is not an anti-war movie, but after watching it, it's hard for me to see war as anything other than a massively destructive force of our worst instincts. But what did you think? Is war the true culprit in this movie? Would things be better if Seita went back to his aunt? And seriously, is there anyone out there who was able to get through this one without shedding at least a few tears? Leave a comment, don't forget to like and subscribe, and like always, we'll see you next time.